Aloha and good afternoon. Welcome to our weekly program right here on KAOI 1110 AM and 96.7 FM. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, where we talk story with Maui's nonprofit directors and staff. We're sponsored by Pacific Source, Maui's best source for building materials, and their cabinet and appliance showroom open to the public in the Waikapu Bayshard. Every Wednesday at noon, we talk with the leaders of our Maui nonprofit organizations to find out how they are working to support the needs of Maui's community. I'm Susie Tiemann, Interim Executive Director at Lokahi Pacific and President of the Maui Nonprofit Directors. I'm happy to have two folks here with me today from MEO Head Start. We have Anna Vasconcelos, the Assistant Director, and Kamiki Carter, the Family Case Manager. Who wants to start us off? Anna?
I will go ahead and start us off. I wanted to first begin and talk about our program a little bit. The Head Start program is a federally sponsored preschool program for children ages 3 to 4, primarily for low-income families. It provides preschool education experience to prepare children when they move on to kindergarten. And the way that we have this program, or the way that it is, it's a comprehensive program that not only supports the child in their preschool experience, it also supports the whole family as a unit. But we'll talk a little bit more about that and what that entails. But I want to just briefly talk about our locations. We have 13 centers that are located here on the island of Maui. 7 that are centrally located. We have 1 in Lahaina, 2 in Kihei, 2 upcountry, and 1 in Haiku. We also have 2 centers on Molokai, which are located in Kanakakai, and we have 1 partnership in Lanai, which is we have a partnership with I Malama I Na Kiki o Lanai. So really, we are a tri-isle operation. We service about 298 children. However, our wait list every year is quite large. So we'll also be talking about later about open enrollment, which is occurring right now. But going back to our centers, we have 5 inclusion sites, which is a partnership that we have with the Department of Education. And in these programs, we support children with special needs. In the classroom, it's comprised of preschool education teachers with Head Start, as well as with special education teachers from the DOE. So it's a comprehensive program that supports the children with special needs.
And there's how many of those?
There's 5 total. We have 1 in Wailuku Elementary. We have 1 in Lihikai. 2 in Makawao. 1 is supported by Makawao Elementary, and the other one is supported by Pukalani Elementary. And we also have the 5th one would be in Lahaina, which is in the Princess Nahiena campus.
Okay.
So I just really wanted to highlight also our program's mission statement, which is to promote the growth and change of children by empowering economically challenged, high-risk and or special needs preschool children and their families to better succeed in life. And like I had mentioned earlier, we really have a focus on the whole family as a unit. And the way that we do that is we encourage families, parents, guardians to be involved in their child's education by being the child's first teacher and their advocate. And the way that they can be involved that way is by volunteering in the classrooms so that they can really take a look at what their child is doing. How are they developmentally learning, and how is that going to help them in kindergarten? And then we also encourage them to participate in excursions, parent work days, and parent center committee meetings, which happen on a monthly basis. So a lot of encouragement for these parents to be actively participants.
As Anna shared earlier, Head Start truly believes that we are a comprehensive approach when working with the families and the children, we include in there the preschool education and activities. By recognizing each child individually, recognizing their strengths, and building areas needed to become kindergarten ready. Another component that we have is the health services and nutrition component, which provides families with health information that they may request. Head Start is determined to make sure that each child has a dental home. A dental home is where each child has a dentist that provides ongoing services and is seen for exams, cleaning, and treatments on a regularly basis. Another way that we do encourage that is we provide toothbrushes for every child, and toothbrushing is done after every meal. So we help to develop positive toothbrushing habits for with the children. All of the meals are free and taken care of: breakfast, lunch, and for full day centers we have snacks.
You don't brush after snacks.
No, they don't brush.
They don't brush after snacks. Okay, but it's after the meals.
For the
After
meals.
meals.
If they're a half a day, then all they get is breakfast.
Breakfast and lunch.
Well, they do get lunch before they leave.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. And so another component is what I take care of is the social services component, where we have four case managers here on Maui and one case manager on Molokai, and our role is to assist the families who come in to do the application process, which we'll talk about later. We build partnerships with the families directly, helping families to recognize their strengths and maybe any barriers, and also creating goals with them. We support families in crisis situations and providing them with information of any agencies or organizations that are available within our community to make sure and they're assisted with any needs, to assist them, with their needs and their goals. Another thing that social services take care of is we make sure that each child comes to school on a regularly basis, and that's a big thing that Head Start wants us to make sure that we do.
Is that a real issue sometimes?
It can be, and because of some family barriers, maybe no car, no transportation, that becomes that becomes an area where families need a lot of support. And now with Maui having more bus services going around. MEO has transportation services for low-income families. I mean, there are more available now for the families to be able to dip into, and again, families are not aware that they can contact MEO, or they can utilize the bus services, and it's cheaper.
For a 3 to 5 year old though, one parent's going to have to come with them.
Absolutely. So
right.
The MEO transportation, and I can share with you, I do have a family who utilizes the MEO transportation, and they are required to come on the bus with the child, drop off the child, and should a need be where they need a transportation to their job, MEO is able to take them from the center to their job, and then come back, pick up their child, and then take their child home,
terrific.
or however it works. So
full service.
So there is there is a really good thing, a really good partnership within MEO that we are able to support our families with.
And then I also wanted to add that for families who might need support with mental health issues, either for themselves or for their child, we do refer them out to mental health professionals and services within the community as well.
Yeah. I wanted to share a little bit, and I know we shared that a little bit earlier, but we are so, all of our staff, we're compassionate and sensitive when we build that partnership with the families. And, when recognizing strengths, sometimes families aren't even aware of what their strengths are, and it's like, I'm having a hard time with this, I'm bad at that, and it's like, but what are some of the positive things that happens within your life. It's like, I don't know, there's nothing. And it's like, well, you bring your child to school every day by 7:30. Well, you pick up your child every day by 3:00. I mean, these are just kind of some of the things where we're like, there are positive things in your life, and we just want you to recognize them and be proud of yourself.
Build on that.
Exactly. And some families, unfortunately don't see it, and
all they say are the negatives.
Yeah,
they've created that vacuum, if you will.
Yeah, unfortunately, and
life is terrible.
Exactly.
So now, in your classroom sizes, how many students would you have in a typical classroom?
We have 20 children to
20.
a classroom, with the exception of one of our centers, which is Kahikili Terrace. We have 15. And then the partnership over on Lanai, we have 5 children who are part of the Head Start program.
Right. And in our Lahaina location, we have 19 enrolled.
19. Okay.
Yes.
Now, with 20 students, how many teachers, how many assistants?
Our minimum is 2. We have some full-day centers that have a third person in there. It really depends on if they are a full-day center or a part-day center. So in some of the full-day centers, you will find the third person in there. With our inclusion locations, however, there's 4 individuals in there, and that would be 2 from the DOE, which it would be the special education teacher, as well as the educational assistant that's hired by the Department of Education, and then you have 2 Head Start employees, 1 teacher and 1 teacher assistant or assistant teacher.
Okay, now you mentioned something about the parents coming to help out.
Right.
On any given day, you'd have 1 or 2 parents in there assisting, or more?
Yes,
or?
It really depends on their availability. What we do ask of parents is when their child is enrolled, we encourage them to come in and volunteer, but we do ask for a TB clearance because that is part of licensing requirements. All of our centers are licensed by the Department of Human Services.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the volunteer can happen anytime that the center opens till it closes, and as well as they can volunteer on parent work days, which would be, if there's things that are needed in the classroom, like wash the toys, more like maintenance kind of duties, the parents are more than happy to come in and assist. And those are usually scheduled on the weekends or on the evenings.
And I just want to share, at the Luana Garden Center, we had some families from the Kahului A and B Center that helped to create a sandbox, and it was so cool. On their parent work day, they actually redug up everything and realigned it and put the lining, and it was so awesome to see when I got back to the center, and it was like, my gosh, it was like, wow, you guys did a good job, so it's things like that helps to support the program, right, and to do, as Anna was saying, the maintenance and to just to ensure that the children have quality things. Aside from just material things, it's like just something like that. It's not small, it's pretty big, right, and we're just so thankful and grateful for that participation as well.
What an opening for parents to find out what it's like for their children and what they're learning. And it seems to me like I remember I'm going back to my days at MEO. It seems like I remember stories about sometimes where parents come in and help, and then they end up going to school and learning. And do we have any teachers now that have started out as helpers?
Oh, yes. I can think of maybe, 4 or 5 that have started as parents, and they were actively involved as policy council representatives. They were actively involved in the classrooms, volunteering, and they became part of the classroom staff eventually. And I know of one of our family case managers, actually, she became She was in the Head Start classroom, then she became a family case manager, and about, I believe, 2 years ago, she got promoted to disability mental health specialist.
Wow.
And so she's really progressed throughout
So
the
it's
years.
not only for the kids. This
it's
is a total
for-
family learning.
That's right.
I gotta take a pause here. We gotta get a word in from Pacific Source. Thank you.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
We're back. Thank you very much for joining us today on Maui Nonprofit Notes as we talk to two folks, Anna and Kamiki from MEO Head Start. Telling us about, now that we're talking about kids that are 3 to 5 years of age. Is that correct?
Yes.
And we're talking about them coming to the school, and in many cases they've had no exposure to trying to learn anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so you encourage the parents or a parent to be a part of what's going on with the kids. As the kids learn, so do the parents learn how they can help the children so that when they start kindergarten the next year or two, they're ready.
Absolutely.
They're prepared. They're prepared to learn and go on.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we were just, before the break, we were talking about how some of the folks in the classroom now have been parents. Do you have anybody that was a student?
On staff, no. But I know that
Not
our
yet?
yes,
Not yet. It's not old
yet.
enough, huh?
But I know that staff who have been in the office for a number of years have run into students, and they report that those students are already graduated from college, and moving on with their lives and moving on to bigger things.
So they've been able to accomplish things that,
Yes,
as a
definitely.
3-year-old, the parents never even thought possible in many
Right.
cases,
Right.
because we are talking low-income folks.
Yes.
And you're going to tell me a little bit about open enrollment?
Yes, we are.
Mm-hmm.
So currently we're accepting applications for the 2012-2013 school year, which will start in August. Any children who are born in the year 2008 or 2009 are eligible for enrollment. Some of the documents that the families will need to provide at the time of application is the child's birth certificate, income information, which is 4 to 6 current pay stubs, their 2011 W-2s or 2011 tax returns if they've already done it. Also, for families who are receiving financial assistance through welfare, we'll also need their TANF statement. Families will need to come into the office to complete the applications. Applications are accepted Monday through Fridays between 7:30 and 3:30 p.m., with the exception of the holidays. The MEO Head Start is located in the MEO Family Center, located at the 99 Mahalani Street in Wailuku, behind the Cameron Center. If you have any questions or need directions, don't hesitate to give us a call. Our number is 249-2988. Again, 249-2988. Also, for any families who have applied last year for their child, you will need to come back in and reapply for your child for this school year. Again, if you guys have any questions, give us a call, 2988. So Susie, I'm just going to kind of share with you, what happens after they enroll. Well, once you enroll your child, selections starts in May. So families will begin to receive letters advising if their family is eligible or ineligible. If families don't receive letters by June, I would encourage the families to start calling in the beginning of July. So ineligible, should a family be ineligible for their for services and their financial situation say goes down for the worse, families are encouraged to come back in and reapply to with their updated information. If families are eligible for the program, children are either waitlisted or selected. So at the selection process, that begins
Here
a
comes.
whole new thing.
Here comes the hard part.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, no. I was thinking about, sometimes when you're waitlisted, you just think, I just sit and wait and see. And if they applied last year and they didn't get selected, and it was just simply a matter of nobody left the program, so there was no openings.
Correct.
Because you would fill during the year, right?
Yes, we do.
So if they didn't get to come in during the year, a lot of people really assume they're on the wait list. So I think it's great that you emphasized it twice, and I'm going to emphasize it again, that just because you signed up once doesn't mean you're on the list for this next year.
Correct.
Okay? And so then you go through the screening process of the paperwork.
Correct.
So you find out who's eligible, who's not.
Correct.
And then you start making phone calls.
Actually, they receive a letter.
A letter, okay.
Advising them whether or not they're ineligible or eligible for the program.
And if they're eligible?
Then they'll either be placed on the wait list or they will be selected. So if they're waitlisted, again, preference is going to be given to the 4-year-old children. So any child who's born in 2008 will get preference, along with, again, we were talking a little earlier about selection process, along with that in mind. And so, sometimes families call and say, my child is 3 years old and I'm still on the wait list. When am I gonna, and it's already January, and we encourage, hey, give us a call, come back February 1st, because that's when we do our open enrollment. And we're going to go ahead and say it again, come back and reapply, and it's a good thing. It's a positive thing, because sometimes families aren't aware. And on that letter, it specifically shows the families what the process is as far as should you not hear from us by January, please come back February 1st. So
Okay, so if you've got a 2-year-old, don't come and sign them up.
If they're born in December 2009, or there still be a 2-year-old, but as long as they're born in 2008 or 2009, even if they're 2 years old when they come in to apply, it's okay, because we accept it based on the birth year, 2008 and 2009.
Okay, so now you've got 13 Head Start locations. Is that what we said?
That's right.
That includes 3 on our neighbor islands of Molokai and Lanai.
That's right.
Okay. I was going to ask something in relation to that. It's gone. That's awful, isn't it? Yeah. We do have a 3-second delay on the radio, don't we? You block that out. Okay. No, I wish we did sometimes, right? But it's. I think it's fascinating to me that you've got. What you said? How many children altogether? 298 children.
298 enrolled.
Okay, so this is the only Head Start program there is in Maui County, but there's an early Head Start program.
Right, early Head Start is through Family Maui. Maui Family Support Services.
Okay, and that's for the younger children.
Those are for the younger children, birth to 3 years of age.
Oh, okay. So can they be in that program and then come into yours?
They most certainly can go to the agency and go and apply. Yes.
Okay.
But it's not necessarily because they're enrolled in the early Head Start that they'll
it's two separate things. So they'd have to.
So they'll still have to come in and apply for our program.
Right.
Yeah.
Terrific. Well, we got about 20 seconds. What would you like to say to your audience?
Wow.
Mahalo for supporting us.
That's right.
Continue
You
to
can-
come in and apply.
There you go. And that's, I think, if I recall again from my days at MEO, there were times when you had almost as many people on the wait list as enrolled.
Yes, that's true.
So there's a great need.
Yes, there is. But we encourage everybody who has children within the ages of 3 to 4 or born between 2008 and 2009 to come in and apply.
Gotcha. Any plans for expansion?
At this time, no.
No.
Not
it's,
yet.
It's called funding, right?
Yes,
It's called
gotcha.
Show Me the
and
Money.
that's a
Show
whole
me the
different
money.
show.
Okay. We'll talk about that at a later date.
Yes.
Hey, thank you so much, Kamiki and Anna, for coming on today and talking about Head Start. It's a
Mahalo, Susie.
fabulous program. Thank you so much.
Nice
Thank
to see
you.
you again.
Same here. Same here. And while they switch headphones and microphones, I just want to thank everybody for joining us every Wednesday for this show, and to let you know that we actually encourage everyone out there to get involved with the nonprofit of your choice. There are many opportunities. There are many different kinds of programs out there. What we try to do on our show is to bring you a sampling of what's available to get involved with, and to get not only to volunteer for these, but also to get services. And I think this one that we've got coming up here in the next part of the program is one that affects so many of us. I know it's affected my family so tremendously that it seems like every other word in our family get-togethers is cancer. We're one of those families. I had it on both sides of my family, and I've had it. And so I'm walking testimony that there is life after cancer.
That's fantastic.
And it's hard to believe it was 33 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's great on your survivorship.
Thank you. It's just a distant memory at this point. With us today we have Jeff Scharnhorst, who is the Executive Director of the Pacific Cancer Foundation, and Linda.
Tisar Amimoto.
I knew I wouldn't get that one right. So thank you, Linda, for stepping in. We're going to start off talking about the weekly support groups that Linda's in charge of. You want to give us some lowdown on those?
Sure. I came to Jeff. I'd heard about the need for support groups here on Maui. I came to Jeff a couple of months ago, and we've finally gotten the ball rolling, and we have a small support group for cancer survivors that meets once a week. And we're hoping to start another support group for caregivers.
Caregivers to cancer patients.
Yes.
Okay, now, cancer survivors, any kind of cancer.
Yes, any kind.
Okay, because I guess one of the things that always bothered me about the different cancer groups was it was all about this type of cancer, and yet to me it's just the word cancer is I don't know how to say it. It just sends chills.
Absolutely, it does.
And so it doesn't
Yeah.
make any difference what kind. It's cancer. And they can talk about the statistics all they want about the rate of cure on this particular one or that one, how much money is spent on research from this cure and that one. It's cancer.
Right, it is. Yeah.
Jeff, you want to step in and...
Well, there's a lot of, there's just a great need, here in Maui County for support. We are a small, people always forget that we're a rural community, even though we're a world-class destination for vacationers and all that type
That's a
of
good
thing.
point.
We are still a rural community, and, we're sort of out here a little bit, and as a Ohana, we need to pull together and help each other and support each other, and that's the awesome thing about having Linda here. With her experience from the wellness community in California and helping with the folks there who are experts in cancer care and cancer support, she's now come here to be able to help us here in Maui County and our Maui Ohana with the great skills and experience, because we need, when folks are diagnosed with cancer, as we grow, of course, we would love to be able to, certain cancers have certain, needs and certain commonalities, that patients battle and struggle with. But you're absolutely right. In our small community, the diagnosis of cancer, whether it's breast cancer or lung cancer or pancreatic cancer, whatever it might be, we need each other's support, and we need to be able to be there for each other and learn skills from each other about how to cope. A lot of patients, have called and said, I really need to talk to somebody, about what I'm going through. This is all brand new to me, in tears. I don't know what to do. And to be part of a support group, that's exactly where you can learn those skills and learn from others that have been through it before you. A lot of folks, too, call and say, I'd love to help. How can I volunteer to help others? Being part of a support group, you not only get help and encouragement yourself, you're able to share your experience, with others who are newly diagnosed and going through it.
Now, does that call for help come at different times in different people's, or at different stages for different people?
I imagine it does, and the hardest thing is to get people to take that first step, just to check it out. Check out the support group. So many people try to, when they're faced with such a diagnosis, try to, I'll just push through
Tough
it. I'll tough it through. But with Ohana, it's not about toughing it through. It's about leaning on others and letting others lean on you. People can help each other, like yourself. What would have happened maybe 33 years ago if there had been a support group offered to you?
It's an interesting question. 33 years ago, it was like, cancer.
Right. What do we do?
And when you're as young as I was when I had it, and most of my there's a whole, my cousin, my sister, there's one other person in there. There are 4 of us that had it like within 5 years of each other. And it was like, we had our own support group going.
Right.
It was like, she really came through it well. I've got to be just as tough and do it, and not have any scars, figuratively speaking, from it, because she doesn't have any, and it was like that. Well, this is part of a sibling rivalry, right? I can do it too. But it's I can't imagine what it would have been like if nobody else had it before me. I was like the last of the 5.
Well, and, it's the same thing, like you say, to know that somebody else has been there before you and can share their skills and their experience, just like, I don't know what to do, and to have somebody say, you know what, that's exactly how I felt. I didn't know what to do either. It felt very overwhelming. And to be able to sit with another group of people and say, I know exactly how you feel, and here's some of the skills that I used to get through this and to overcome. And this was a hard part for me, but this is what I learned, from it. As well as it's funny in our society how we we'll go to an expert for virtually anything until it's care like this, for our emotional support and to gain courage and knowledge from each other. When you get that cancer diagnosis, sometimes people want to go, okay, got to be quiet. It's a secret. It's contagious. Don't come near me. You know what I mean? And keep it to yourself instead of going, oh my God, I'm faced with this very serious illness. I need help, and I need to talk to others, and I need to learn from an expert, and I want to hear. You want to fix your car? You go to a class, learn how to fix your car, and then you got all these other students around going, oh, I fixed that 57 Chevy before. I know how to do that, and this is what you do, and here's the tricks I learned. And yet when we're faced with cancer, we, like Linda says, it's very hard for us to make that step to get into the support group because, we feel as if somehow we've, failed or something. I don't know. But it is. Once you make that step and jump in, every single person that comes to the support group goes, why didn't I do this sooner?
Right.
I should have done this sooner.
And they're so happy. They're so glad. I mean, at the end of the group, they're always like, oh, thank you. You really helped me just by letting me say what I needed to say. So as I said it, I could organize it in my own mind, and I could make myself stronger. I could think more clearly what to do. And oftentimes they don't want to say these things to their spouse, to their caregiver.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Shows a weakness of some sort or something.
Well, they don't want to burden them, perhaps,
yeah,
or make them cry, or share their fear that they might die, because then it would be, the elephant would be seen in the room.
Right.
Gotcha. That's interesting. Now, with this support group, can you be a part of this off and on, or is it pretty much you got to come every week? Or
Well, we love people to come every week. If they can't, a lot of times they can't, then that's fine too. They can come, and when they can't, they don't have to. It's not mandatory, and the more the merrier.
And what's a good number of people in a group like this?
Well, so far we've started with about 2 or 3 regulars, and probably if it got bigger than about 10 or 12, we would separate into separate groups to keep it more intimate.
Okay, so that you can feel like you can talk and not broadcast,
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah, not like you'd be standing in front of a hall and lecturing to like 40 or 50. No, yeah, a great support group is usually a max of about 12. 10 to 12 is a great group of people so that everybody can share. So,
And these folks are going to come from all different backgrounds, all different ethnicities.
That's what we've seen so far.
It's I would think that there's a lot to be said for that. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in just a minute.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
we can also,
Caregivers.
Hello, welcome back. Well, this is Maui Nonprofit Notes, talking story today. Earlier in the show, we had two ladies from Maui's MEO Head Start program, and in this half hour, we're talking to two folks from the Pacific Cancer Foundation. Jeff and Linda are telling us about the new support groups that they've started. Support group at this point was going to be building into groups. One of the questions that I asked during the break was, it seems to me that knowing now, if I had known then what I know now when I had my bout with cancer, I would have liked to have talked to somebody before we made decisions on what to do. Does a support group work when you've just first gotten that diagnosis and don't know whether to have the surgery? Let's say it's breast cancer. Do I do the mastectomy? Do I do all the other? Well, there's so many different forms now. But
Yes, very much yes. We just so happened had a group just the other day with 3 ladies, and each one had been in the different stages. The one woman had just recently been diagnosed and had been given options. The second woman had done it one way, the third woman had done it another, and all 3 of them could share what their experience was. And it really helped the first woman decide. Later, as the weeks went by, she related to us what she decided and why, and how much it had really helped her to
Oh, that's
hear those
terrific.
experiences.
And I think in a setting like that, for me, again, having had the experience, it's knowing that somebody's been through it, and it's not just people saying, well, why would you want to mess up everything, just have the lumpectomy and get it over with? And yet, for me, that would always make me wonder, because as I was told, it's the tissue is the issue. If you still have 90% of the tissue there, you've got perhaps a breeding ground. Am I wrong? That's kind of what I've been told.
Well, there's been a lot of different changes, and we were talking earlier, I think, before the break, about how things have changed even in the last, 10 to 20 years with cancer therapy and treatment, and what is the preferred standard of care, and that has been changing over time. That's always something we always strongly encourage. To ask your doctor and to discuss it with him. I know a lot of patients, when they go into the doctor, my own mother's one of these. When you go into the doctor, you get what's called the white coat syndrome. And you see that white coat, and suddenly your brain goes blank, and you clam up, and your heart rate goes up, and your blood pressure increases, and you forget absolutely everything that you wanted to talk to the doctor about until you leave. So one of the programs that we have at Pacific Cancer Foundation is our Patient Navigator program with Carly Smallwood, who's based up at the oncology unit. And one of the things she's able to do for patients is let's sit down, write down on a piece of paper what is it that you need to know and you want to discuss with your doctor. And when you go into the doctor, bring that list of questions and then just read them off. And you can write the information down. So strongly, strongly encourage whatever. It's your body, it's your life, and you definitely need to take control of the decisions that you make for your cancer care. And so definitely discuss that with your doctor. What do you recommend as the best treatment? And, when doctors, sometimes we feel, they'll be offended if I ask for a second opinion. Absolutely not. Doctors are perfectly fine with you getting a second opinion. You're not insulting them or annoying them by doing that. That's your job as, the consumer of healthcare. I just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Because most of the time, what your doctor may recommend is what the other doctor will recommend. And what that does is reassure you. Hey, other doctors are thinking the exact same as the doctor I'm seeing. So I can have more confidence going forward in this procedure. So talk to your doctor, absolutely.
There you go. Do a lot of our cancer patients go off island for care or treatment?
Some do. Some obviously, would go to Oahu, for more specialized treatment if needed. But the one great thing that is not always known here is there is excellent treatment here in Maui. I know sometimes, we live here too, and, the word gets around like, oh, well, we're Maui, we're kind of on this, outer island, and things aren't as expert here. Things are expert here. We have some expert doctors here. Even just like the most recent stroke clinic that they started over at Maui Memorial. Do you know that the very best place to get a stroke in the entire United States is in Maui? Because they have the very best treatment and care right here in Maui County.
Wow.
Yeah. So with the new cancer care that's going up, I'm sure a lot of people saw in the newspaper, the Pacific Cancer Institute, which is not us, by the way. I know a lot of people familiar, we have a similar name, but we are the Pacific Cancer Foundation of Maui, a nonprofit charity. Pacific Cancer Institute is Dr. Bobby Baker's radiation treatment facility up there, and they are doing a big new $7 million expansion up there to bring more expert cancer care right here to the islands. So you can get some expert treatment here, treatment here in the islands. And a lot of people do stay right here in Maui for their treatment. In fact, the incredible thing is, talking about great care, up at the hospital in the chemotherapy unit with the nurses up there, people come from the mainland on their vacations, and they specifically say, I have to get X amount of treatments, and I want to do it there in Maui with you nurses and at the hospital because you are so great and it is so wonderful.
That's a tremendous reputation.
Yeah, very good reputation. I mean, they come here specifically to get their chemotherapy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's it's exciting in a kind of a sad sort of way, I have mixed feelings about it, but I'm glad it's here.
Yes.
And that's the important thing.
Yeah, there's great care here. That's why we are really excited about Linda, from her background and experience, coming from California, from the Wellness Institute. She has a lot of great experience. The Wellness Institute is outstanding, world-class place.
Yeah, I'm very glad to be here. I was really surprised when Jeff told me that there were really no professionally therapist-led cancer support groups. The wellness community in Redondo Beach, where I did my internship for a couple of years, I mean, there are many, many groups there. The wellness community, now called the cancer community, is all across the United States. And I was very surprised that there was nothing here. So I'm so glad to be a part of starting something here. And I hope it continues to grow. And,
when Jeff and I first started talking about your coming on the show today, it didn't hit me that I hadn't heard about support groups lately. I think, in my previous life, I owned a newspaper over in Honolulu, and there were all kinds of support groups over there for different kinds of cancer. And, of course, there's your major hospitals and so forth, and all the nonprofit agencies that work with cancer patients, and any other support groups. But it's like, whoa, all of a sudden the light bulb went on, and I haven't seen anything. And I think a lot of times we relied on the American Cancer Society for those things, and they've had to do some cutting back, a tremendous amount of cutting back in some areas. And I know Anna is pretty, well, she's it, isn't she, over here, I think now? And she had support groups going on all islands. I remember when I used to fly around the islands, so I'd run into her all the time. She was on her way to some event, wherever it was. And it's like, yeah. So I'm so glad to see you picking up where the void is and filling it.
Yeah, we're all trying to work together. It's been, obviously, for all nonprofits. I mean, not just, cancer care, but all nonprofits, obviously, with the downturn in the economy, have had to make some real tight belting or belt tightening.
Yeah.
Belt tightening, with resources and whatnot. So we've all tried to pull together and complement each other and collaborate together. And we do, collaborate with folks at the hospital and with Anna Maeda at American Cancer Society. They do awesome work, doing a ton of stuff in the community. So we all try and work together and not duplicate. We don't duplicate services. We try and fill in with us at the Pacific Cancer Foundation. We just try and fill in the pukas that are there where there is a need that's not being provided by somebody else at this time, so that we can all work together to kind of make a whole support system. Whether it's the all the stuff that the American Cancer Society does, and then the stuff that we try and do to fill in the pukas as a small local organization, to make sure that patients have as much care and support as we can possibly give them.
And the options to find out everything they need to know about this disease that they have been told they have. The support groups are free?
Yes, they're absolutely free. And again, I want to also speak to the caregiver support group. As far as I know, there has never been a caregiver support group
I've never heard of one.
here on Maui at all. And we found in California that it was very, very helpful. The caregivers could really form friendships. They could also form maybe I'm sick, maybe I can't take my spouse to this appointment. Could you? They form these type of friendships, helping Ohana type friendships. And the caregivers really need someone to voice their fears to. They can't voice their fear to the person who has cancer.
That extra burden. Yeah, they worry. That's one thing you want for a patient to not have to worry about the people around them and what your illness is causing them, right?
So if they can express to others who are also going through the same thing, they unload it, they get it off their chest, and then they can go home and be a little more clear and calm and do probably a little better caregiving.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Now, volunteers. We're talking about, obviously you're not a volunteer professional doing the support groups, but you have a lot of need for volunteers in some areas, don't you?
We do, yeah. We have one of the great new things we're doing as far as volunteers helping us. Obviously, as a nonprofit, we're always trying to raise funds to support great programs like this, like Linda, providing these support groups every single week. The patient navigation program, the specialists that we fly over from Oahu every month for gynecological oncology and high-risk breast cancer, the resource materials that we give away up at the hospital. All those things obviously require money, and we are joining this year for the very first time the Visitor Industry Charity Walk that's coming up on May 12th. So if you go to our website at www.pacificcancerfoundation.org, you can get more information, give us a call. Our goal is to get 200 walkers out there walking with us and showing support for the cancer patients and the cancer folks in our community. Wow. So that's something that we would love to have volunteers help us raise funds on. Also, we were talking, Linda and I were talking, at being part of the support group, there's patients that need to come that say, I'm newly diagnosed, or I'm right in the middle of my treatment and I need some help and support. And also patients who have gone through the other side. I was just talking to a woman on Saturday who said, this is all brand new to me. I'm finally able to talk about my diagnosis. 4 years. I'm a 4-year breast cancer survivor, and I finally feel strong enough to talk to others about it. And so I would like to volunteer. And I said, a support group is a great place for you to volunteer. And initially she said, well, I don't need help. I want to help others. And I said, that's a great place for you to help others, because then there will be people at the group that, I'm brand new, diagnosed, I don't know what to do, and here you are, a 4-year survivor, and you can say, I know, let me share you my experience of what I've been through, and you can really help other people that way as a volunteer.
I almost, sometimes I sit in a room and with a bunch of people at a meeting or something, and you know how if the speaker's not that exciting, your mind starts wandering. And I sit there and I think of the statistics. 1 out of every how many are going to have cancer in their lives or be touched by cancer. I mean, everybody at this point, I think, is probably going to be touched by it. But the numbers even of who's going to have it, and I find myself going through the room wondering who in there has already had it. Now, that's terrible. Isn't that awful?
No, that's not that terrible.
But no, I mean, it's just it's one of those little quirky things that I guess you have to have had it to feel that way about it. But it's exciting to know that there are those of us who have been around for 33 years afterwards.
Absolutely.
That's very good news.
I mean, I used to kind of get a little upset with the Relay for Life because they had the banners 5-year survivors, but they didn't have anything after that. And I quit walking after about the 10th year because I said, I don't want to be in the 5-year group.
Good for you.
We really need to tell people that there truly is a life after cancer, and
Right.
can be.
Yes.
And yes, we hear stories of it starting again. It's actually a new strain or whatever. But for the most part, there's a lot of us walking around out here.
Absolutely. The 5-year mark is usually the medical community's view
Here.
that you have. If you've
Benchmark.
made it 5 years, that's what the doctors say. Okay, that means you're cancer free, and that's what we always like to say. You're cancer free. There is no cancer that we can find. And like yourself, you are a living example to lots of people, because when they hear the diagnosis, they think that's it. And there's so many people that are walking around 30 plus years, cancer free, having an awesome life, doing tons of great things and serving the community. And it's not like, my life is over. It's like, sometimes your whole life has just begun.
I think
there's
that's
a whole
what
new perspective.
I think that's
on
what
life.
it did for me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I've done since then that I would not have even thought of
Mm-hmm.
prior to that.
Yep, I've heard that before.
And
I've
and
heard
they're all
that.
good.
That's
They've all
great.
turned out to be good things. Thank you so much, Linda and Jeff, for being on the show today. I really appreciate it. One more
Absolutely.
time, the phone number to get a hold of you.
Yes, for any information you want to find out about the support groups, please call us 242-7661, 242-7661, or go to our website, pacificcancerfoundation.org, and you can get information on there, and email us or call us. We'd love to hear from you and give you more information and get you into the support groups and get you joining.
There you go. And I was looking at your website yesterday in kind of doing some prep for today. It's a great website. There's a
Awesome.
lot of ideas on there and a lot of places to go with it.
Great, thank you.
Thank you again for being
Thank
on the
you.
show. And we want to thank the audience out there for listening to us, and we encourage all of you to get involved by giving, advocating, or volunteering for your favorite nonprofit. Please visit our website at www.mauinonprofit.org for a list of our member agencies. We encourage you to get involved today. We want to thank Pacific Source for sponsoring the show, and to everyone out there, aloha and have a great week.